is strange sitting with some people because like we grew up watching you, and it's weird to sit here with you. Not that like
you're not so young that you say you grew up watching me.
Okay,
it's not like you were 4 watching The Office.
No, but it's like
we
18?
were like 18.
Still growing up, but you know what I mean. Okay. Like we were young.
All right, fair enough.
The way he got me to be his wife was through The Office.
We binge watched it together, and I made her like sit down and watch it with me.
Because when I saw The Office and I saw that was his sense of humor, I was turned on.
Wow.
It was like an early Netflix.
That's like the highest compliment The Office has ever gotten as a show, and it's gotten plenty of compliments.
So you guys
brought you guys together. That's amazing.
We were making out to you and Michael.
Oh, that's okay. That's gross.
It is really full circle to have you here. And I was excited when we got the opportunity to interview you because I love to tell people stories. And I think that it would be really cool to get all the behind the scenes and the context of everything you've done. What was the first moment that you knew you wanted to be an actor?
Wow. You're going way back.
Way back.
Wow. The first moment, that I wanted to be an actor. This sounds crazy because I played an iconic role of a comic sidekick on a sitcom. But when I was a kid, I grew up watching sitcoms. I mean, that's kind of all my family did night after night after night, even the bad ones through the 70s and early 80s, Bob Newhart show, MASH, watched every episode, Taxi, I loved, Cheers, all of these great shows. And it was always like the comic sidekick characters that I would be like, I want to do that. Now I had no idea how to get there. I didn't know like what does that mean? My dad worked in a sewer construction in suburban Seattle. I didn't know any professional artists. He was kind of a wannabe artist and he would paint and write weird books and stuff like that. But I had no idea how to be an artist. But I was like, I want to be like Radar O'Reilly on MASH. He comes in and just says a bunch of funny lines and is kind of a clown. And I always knew I was a little bit of a clown myself. And, maybe I could do something like that. So fast forward to high school, and especially this one high school I went in suburban Chicago, we moved and I started doing theater, and I was kind of like, oh, this is the next best thing. At least I can perform, I can make people laugh, I can improvise, I can do physical comedy and stuff like that. But even then, it wasn't like, oh, this is my trajectory is to be on a sitcom. But I just kind of knew it in my bones. I was like, I think I could do that.
Did you ever think you could make a living at it, or you just wanted to do the thing?
I had never met a single person in my life growing up that had ever made a check from doing art.
Uh-huh.
So I knew a lot of people doing art. Like I knew people that played guitar. My dad painted, some big crazy paintings. I knew people that aspired to be artists in some way here and there, but I never knew anyone that had gotten paid for it. So it just wasn't on my radar. Then I went, then I was a theater geek. I kind of gave up being a chess team geek and a bassoon playing geek and a Model United Nations dork, and went all in on the theater geek world. And then I started going to theater classes and training, and ended up at NYU for theater training. But even then I was like, well, I guess I'll be an actor in the theater. I'll go do a Christmas Carol at some theater and I'll get $380 a week and, play Bert von Hooverstein or whatever.
So out of curiosity, what did you think you would do to support yourself? Like it sounds like the acting is like your passion, but you obviously had to live. So what were you doing at the time?
I worked so many odd jobs. I mean, it's crazy. I worked... I was a handyman's assistant at an apartment building. I delivered marine supplies. I was a busboy, a dishwasher busboy, then waiter at a variety of restaurants. I did cater waitering. My wife and I had a dog walking service that lasted all of a month. The list goes on and on and on with a crazy job. I once had a job counting cars from a freeway overpass on the carpool lane with a clicker. For a study from the University of Washington. I spent a couple of weeks sitting on a freeway overpass. You name it, I did it just to kind of pay the bills. So, in terms of being an actor, I didn't know what I was going to do. Maybe teach acting on the side. I didn't know how that worked.
Do you learn how to be funny, or is there an art and a science behind being funny?
Both.
Yeah.
So you can learn a lot about being funny. You could take an improv class and it's a laboratory to study like what works, what's funny, what's not. It's like, oh, specific things are funny. Oh, yelling is not funny, unless it's Steve Carell, then it's pretty funny. But, and so acting classes, improv, I suppose if you tried stand-up comedy, you'd kind of learn what's funny and what's not. But, I also think that comedy in a lot of ways for people like me, I was kind of a dork. I never really fit in, had a troubled childhood home life. It's a coping mechanism. It's a survival mechanism. Like I was never going to be the best looking guy in the room or the most popular or the most successful, but I could make people laugh. And then I took my first acting class and then I made the girls laugh and they invited me to sit at their lunch table. And then I was like, okay, I'm in.
So it's almost like when you associate that.
You would have invited me to sit at your lunch table. If I had made you laugh.
Oh yeah,
in an acting class.
By the way, this is my friend behind here, my producer Taylor. Since I was 12 years old, and the reason I keep him around this long is because he's making me laugh.
He's an absolutely terrible producer. No, I'm just kidding.
Taylor seems very stressed out, though.
He is stressed out. He is the Dwight of The Office.
He is?
Yeah. This is true.
Let me so we've worked together. We've known each other since we were 12, all of us. All of us.
All you guys?
Yep.
We haven't been together that whole time, but we've all known each other since middle school.
Where was this?
In San Diego, in like Del Mar area. As we grew up down there.
Wow, I didn't know successful people came from San Diego.
Yeah, zing on San Diego. San Diego people are punching the air right now.
I love San Diego, especially old school, like San Diego in the 90s.
So
was
good,
like
so good,
magic land.
So good.
Yeah.
I will say now that if I discovered San Diego as a grown man, I would be like, I'm never leaving. But since we grew up there, the San Diego people are pissed.
But yes, you would have sat at my table. I would have wanted you at my table.
Yeah.
Because funny, there's nothing better than funny.
Yeah.
But yes, Taylor is, he's worked with us for forever, known us forever, and he has his own HR department siloed specifically around him.
Yes.
There's a whole team that just makes sure.
Yep.
Support Taylor?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you associated like happiness sort of with being funny.
Yeah, I think, I wouldn't say happiness. I would just say it became a survival skill and a coping mechanism. So I don't know if you know the great social scientist about happiness, Arthur Brooks, Dr. Arthur Brooks.
Sure.
He is amazing. He has a column in The Atlantic. And he always talks about how, people that grew up in kind of difficult situations often use comedy as a way to cope and to get by, because you can't laugh and cry at the same time. Or you can, but you can't laugh and feel despair at the same time. And so laughter is something you bring to yourself to get by difficult situations. And it's not like I was like beaten or tied to a radiator or anything like that. It was just an unhappy marriage that I grew up in. And
is that what you mean when you said troubled childhood?
Yeah. Just my parents, they got divorced the second I left for college. They never should have been married in the first place. It just was not a happy household. That's all. And in school, I found that it was a way for me to get noticed, get attention, make friends. So I leaned in. I think that's that way with a lot of people that, are funny people or consider themselves working in comedy.
Being funny is number one. I think it's number one.
Wow.
I got to tell you that.
Okay.
It's important. That's why I told you I had to gauge his sense of humor before I dated him. It's really important.
He passed.
Yeah, he passed.
I think I believe one of the cornerstones to like a long-term relationship is being able to laugh together a lot.
Sure.
And share the same kind of jokes and inside jokes and sense of humor around things. So yeah, I mean, like I think, and like when the world starts to go to shit, which it does time to time, comedy I think is what brings everybody kind of back together. It's like everyone starts to kind of look like, okay, this is absurd. Let's laugh about it.
Right.
Like it's the thing. It's the great connector of people.
What was the first big break that you had when it came to comedy?
Well, listen, I went to theater school. So I was just making plays and playing characters. I played Hamlet, in acting school. I wasn't necessarily like funny guy.
Got it.
Now, did I excel at doing comedy? Yeah, I did better in comedic roles and stuff like that. But I didn't do stand-up. I didn't do improv. I played characters. And then I spent 10 years doing theater in and around New York on tours and regional theaters and stuff like that. So, my career was about transforming into characters. And if you need to get a laugh, you've got to find a way to get a laugh. And a lot of the characters that I played were funny. And then when I came out here to LA, I found a niche. I had struggled making a living in the theater. In fact, I was in New York 10 years, and I think your audience will appreciate this. I calculated it. For those 10 years, I never made more than $17,000 in a year doing acting.
Wow.
For the first 10 years of my career. Now, I had unemployment, and I would wait tables and cater and drive a moving van. That was another one of my big jobs, side hustles. So it wasn't until I came to LA, doors started opening for me because I had this ability to create weird, interesting characters, hence eventually Dwight Schrute, but I played a lot of other characters before and after Dwight.
I think people don't understand how hard and difficult the theater is.
Yeah.
It's to me, it seems like, I don't know, but like the most difficult kind of form of acting, it would seem, because it's live.
Yeah.
What advice do you have for someone that has to get up in front of people, in front of a live audience, and be comfortable?
Well, the whole idea of acting and a lot of acting training is figuring out how to not be self-conscious.
Yeah.
Right. So, but this applies to public speaking. It applies to being on camera. It applies to having a conversation on cameras and with microphones in a podcast.
Public speaking used to be my biggest fear in the world.
Yeah.
And now I obviously do it a lot, but it used to terrify me.
Right. And probably because you're so self-aware. You're like, what do they think of me? How am I standing? Should I put my hands in my pockets? Oh, I was going to say the other thing. Why did I say that? I should have said the other. Like, it's a self-consciousness that makes being up in front of people difficult. So when you study acting, part of the study of acting is learning how to sink yourself in your character so that you're living, breathing, thinking as that character. And you're not kind of going like, how do I look? Do I look okay? Did that sound weird? Maybe I should stand more like that. You're in the bones, you're in the skin, you're behind the eyeballs of the character, and you're pursuing what the character wants and pursuing that intention. So you can bring those same skills in terms of public speaking and in front of an audience. You're also in service to something larger. When you're an actor, you're trying to help tell a story. It's bigger than you. It's not about you. It's about the scene. It's about what's the point of the scene? Where are you trying to go? What's the style that the scene needs to be played in? So there's something bigger than you driving it. And it's the same way with public presentation. It's like, let the thing that you're trying to impart be the most important thing. So it takes away from that self-consciousness.
So is the Daniel Day-Lewis character, is he just like sunk in too deep and too far? Is he just like so deep in there behind the eyes?
There's a lot of actors that do that go in way deep.
Like he becomes Abe Lincoln for like a year, and he's just that's.
Can you imagine being married to him? You have to like turn into the wife. What's her name? Martha? I know that's George Washington. You have to really get into it with him.
Yeah.
What was?
Do you do that? Is it like that? I mean, like when you're playing someone for a long time, is it like that deep, or is it you can kind of come in and out, take the pants on and off?
No, I mean obviously I wasn't like walking into the set of The Office as Dwight Schrute and like living as Dwight for 10 years, but I have tried that on films before. I did this film no one saw, even though it's really good. It's called Hesher. It's with Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Natalie Portman. Hesher. And it's in a legion of independent films that I've done, smaller films that no one ever saw. And I played this kind of pill-popping dad who was kind of catatonic with grief. And I was like, the only way that this is going to work is if I'm just like, if I stay there. I'm not going to like go and action. You know what I mean? Like I have to bring it with me, you know? So,
because it was such a heavy kind of emotional thing.
Yeah. And it's not something you can fake, and it's not something you can push or indicate, no, I'm so sad. Like you have to you have to go there, you know? And so I spent several weeks on that film and I told the crew and people like, hey, I'm going to just kind of be in my own space and just kind of in my own, and crews are pretty good with that, you know, leaving you alone when it's clear like you want to have some space. And I feel like it helped the role, but I don't do that a lot.
That's a hard one to have to play catatonic person that's
With
like,
grief.
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
When you get out of that kind of role, how do you undo it?
Yeah, you have to exercise it and really let it go. I have friends who have really struggled with that, like letting roles go or taking it home with you even, you know, and it bleeds into your real life. But I think people that struggle with that are mental defectives.
Sometimes you take home a role.
I would love for you to elaborate on this.
I'll elaborate later.
Okay.
Sometimes you take home a role.
What role is that?
Yeah, what role is it?
It depends on the night. But
I don't know. It's just
let's go there.
Let's go to it.
Okay.
When you had your first big break,
Mm-hmm.
what was the audition like for that?
Well, the break that I had came before The Office, and it was a show called 6 Feet Under, and it was on HBO.
Of course.
And that was a really big show, and HBO was just breaking open at the time. The Sopranos was on, Sex and the City, Entourage, you know, all these incredible shows were coming out, The Wire, all at the same time. And it was like a new way of experiencing television.
That was a crazy moment in time, all those shows coming out at that time.
There are so many good ones.
And it was all in the early 2000s, and people were like, holy shit.
Those are still, like, when you look at like top 20 lists, like 8 of the ones you just named are still on the list.
They're still up there. Yeah, absolutely. So 6 Feet Under was another great show that was on at the time. There were a couple of guys on the show already, Peter Krause and Michael C. Hall, who played Dexter later, and they were on 6 Feet Under. And I just wanted to be on the show. And I auditioned. This was when I was a struggling actor, just trying to pay the bills. I auditioned for small role after small role and kept not getting cast. And it was so frustrating. I just wanted to be, and I think there's a life lesson here,
100%.
by the way. You waiting for it?
Yeah.
Buckle up, kids. So I auditioned for the flower shop owner, and I auditioned for the pizza guy, and I auditioned for and I remember auditioning for a gay choir member number 3. And I didn't get cast as gay choir member number 3. I'm like, geez, what do I have to do? I just want to get on the show somehow, just a role on the show. And as I was leaving the audition, I saw this breakdown of a new character they were introducing named Arthur, who was a mortician's intern and was very young, but was the love interest of the older mom and was very kind of naturally odd. And I read the description. I was like, oh my God, I could totally play that. So I went to the casting person. I bravely kind of sucked it up and I went over to her and I was like, hey, do you think that maybe I could audition for this other role? And she's like, oh, I don't know. Let me check. And she went and talked to the producer. She's like, yeah, come back in an hour and you can audition for it. And here's your pages. So I had an hour to get a sandwich and prepare. But I just I know I can do this role. I know this role is mine. And, I went back and after 2 or 3 auditions, I got it. I ended up doing 13 episodes on the show. And that's what opened the door for The Office. So The Office didn't come out of nowhere. It really came out of me playing the supporting role on 6 Feet Under. And the showrunner of The Office, Greg Daniels, had seen me on it and was very interested in me. And so in the life lesson here is rejection is God's protection.
Yeah.
Right? Had I gotten to play the pizza guy or gay choir member number 3, I never would have gotten to play Arthur and I never would have played Dwight Schrute. So all that rejection was there for a reason. It was there for a purpose and, opened up a career for me.
What was that like getting the call to play such a big role on The Office?
Or was it big when you got the call, or did you guys not even know if it was going to?
Yeah, I mean, we were a little show when we started and NBC didn't know what to do with us. And when our first season, as you know, is 6 episodes.
Yep.
So that's how much they believed in us.
Yeah,
we're going to order 6 episodes of this weird show. It was a very weird show at the time. Everything was big, bright sitcoms like Friends, and we were mockumentary and fluorescent lights and bad haircuts and, beepers and cubicles. And
that's what was so great about it. The essence of it felt real.
yeah,
It's relatable.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like it was a set.
yeah,
Yeah. So when you start to see the momentum of The Office, what does that look like? Was it a long time or did it pick up quick?
Well, the first season, we barely stayed on the air. The second season, they ordered another 6 episodes. I mean, it was just the minimum that they could order. Very low budgets. Steve Carell had quietly become kind of a movie star during that time because 40-Year-Old Virgin had come out.
Right.
And Little Miss Sunshine and Anchorman. So he was kind of on his way already. Then we just got one more episode here, one more episode there. We kind of thought we'd be canceled and be like Arrested Development. We did a season or 2 of a really funny show. People will eventually discover it, but that's all it's going to be. And then little by little, we just started picking up momentum and the ratings just started going up. I remember back in the day, there was this hotline you could call to find out the ratings, the TV ratings of the night before. If you called after 1:00 p.m. And I remember every time, every day, every week at 1:00, we go, beep, boop, 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 boop. These are your ratings for last night's television. And we'd hear if we went up or down. And we were ticking up. We're ticking up. You guys were ticking up. And then all of a sudden we got the back 9, then we won the Emmy, and then we were just off to the races. Yeah.
Did you always get it? Did you always get how funny and amazing The Office was, or did it take the public court of opinion to?
Oh no, we knew.
You knew.
Oh yeah, yeah. We knew we were creating something really special and outrageous and unlike kind of anything on TV before.
How much input, I'm sure a lot, but did you have on your character and presenting the way that Dwight presents, or was it the right, or did you know hey, this is the way I got to do this thing?
I had a lot of input on it. Yeah. And I, at that point, remember, I had spent 10 years doing theater in New York. So I'd played lots of different characters. I'd spent 3 or 4 years in LA doing crappy little roles on Law and Order and CSI and other, pilots that no one ever saw, little crazy horror films like House of a Thousand Corpses and stuff like that. So I had a lot of experience playing characters, but I came in with a haircut and the glasses I wanted and the beeper and the little calculator wristwatch and the kind of the look and feel of Dwight. And, I had a meeting with the writers and I brought in pictures of my family because a lot of them were farmers back in the day. And that contributed to Dwight being a farmer. And Greg Daniels' relatives had been farmers too. So he was really interested in having a socially awkward farmer in the workplace. How does that work? There's some comedic value to that. So I had a great deal of input. And let's not forget, we had an amazing template, which was The British Office, yep, which is a brilliant show in its own right. And Mackenzie Crook, who played Gareth on that show, Dwight was a kind of a mirror image of him. So there was so much great stuff that he brought to the table in creating that character as well, that frankly, I stole some of his best bets.
When you think back, do you have any favorite episodes or Dwight moments that are you remember them and that was the best version or the best one?
I think one of the reasons The Office has stayed alive for so long is that it has these little human moments that are maybe just 5, 10, 15% of the show. They're a very small percentage of the show, but that's what touches the heart and keeps the audience coming back. And there was an episode called Money where it's the first time they visit Dwight's Airbnb at Schrute Farms. And he's heartbroken because Angela has left him because he put her cat in the freezer. And he's sitting in the stairwell with Jim. And they have a scene and Jim gives him some advice and pats him on the shoulder. And Dwight is looking the other way and doesn't know that Jim has left. And then Dwight and Paul Lieberstein, who played Toby, I think wrote it and was directing it. Brilliant director. And then Dwight reaches out to put his arm around Jim and Jim is gone. And he didn't know it. And then he kind of fumbles and looks around that was weird. And he would have hugged Jim, but Jim was gone. And that kind of missed connection like is this beautiful little human moment that a lesser show would have had Dwight hug Jim to have like oh, look, they're hugging. And then you wouldn't, where do you go from there? Once Dwight has hugged Jim, how do you continue to tell stories where they torment each other?
You're so right. You're so right.
So
about
it's this
that.
one little moment that in that moment was kind of the key to the whole show, to the brilliance of the show.
It had depth. It wasn't just like laugh comedy story. It was like there was depth and feeling to it.
And you see it and you laugh a little bit like, oh, he missed him. And it's like a ha ha, but you're also touched and it kind of it plays both.
And that's the one where you're like crying like a ghoul and then he opens the door and you're acting like, is that right?
Yes. Yeah.
When you thought about him as a character, like what are the personality quirks and traits that you really wanted to bring to the role?
Well, I really love the idea of someone who's utterly unself-conscious, takes themselves incredibly seriously, no matter how ridiculous what they're saying is.
We all know someone like that.
We all know.
Taylor? We need a camera on Taylor. So I knew that would be funny. I'd always beg them to write me more physical comedy too. I always liked it when Dwight hurt himself or tripped over something or, got to do something with some physicality. Because I had studied in theater school, going back to theater school, a lot of like clowning, like again, learning about comedy, like clown is a way to learn about comedy. Not like Ringling Brothers, giant red shoes and big red nose, but building physical comedy routines. The Italians call them lazzis, and I wanted to do more and more of that. So I think that was amazing. And then, but like the writers were so great and they gifted Dwight with this incredible love story with Angela, and the Dwight Angela story, I never would have thought to do that. And they brought that to the equation and, that ran for like 8 of the seasons.
But we had Oscar on the show.
Okay.
And he came in and we did a whole accounting bit in here in this office. It was actually pretty funny. And he played game. But he was saying like you guys over time, it like became like a really tight knit group, like almost like a family in some ways. Like you guys were with each other so often for so long.
Yeah.
That it's like, and I imagine when that ends, that's got not only from an identity perspective, but also just doing that together for so long. That's got to be kind of challenging.
It was amazing. It was, I remember we had this guest director come on the set once and we were on season like 6 or 7 or whatever. And it was in the morning and we were all like hugging, high five. Hey, how was your weekend? And like just getting along, laughing, goofing around. Like, and we had been working together for like, at that point, like 130 episodes into the show at that point. And the director was just like, oh my God, I've never seen this before. It's like, I've shot on 100 TV shows. I've never seen a cast that loved each other as much as this.
Huh. That's what he said.
And and then he said like, I just came from this other show. I won't say what show it was. And, and half the cast wouldn't talk to the other cast and the other half, and they wouldn't come out of their trailers unless someone else was there. And there was like all this kind of like, a competition, and some people would refuse to work with other people. And I won't say what show it was. It's Desperate Housewives. Oh. There you go. There's your headline on People magazine, people.com. Right?
We just had Terry Hatcher on the show.
Yeah. I did a theater thing with Terry Hatcher. She's wonderful.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
she's delightful.
We had a great time with her.
And a very talented actor.
It seems to me too, like that there was almost like an energetic vibe of gratitude on the set. Like it seemed like you guys were so excited, but also at the same time so grateful to be there. And so it felt like you guys were like really just appreciative. And sometimes on a set, you can feel as a viewer when there's like diva behavior going on. Does that make sense?
That totally makes sense. Yeah. I think us almost getting canceled like 3 or 4 times made us like really grateful. Like, oh, we get to do this. And every day was a gift. Are you kidding me? We get to do these incredibly funny scenes. I mean, it wasn't always, sometimes it was grueling and long days and sometimes it was boring because you'd just kind of be in the background of each other's shots all day long, but absolutely there was, we knew we were we got to be part of something really special.
When you're in the background, I've never asked an actor this. When you're in the background of a shot for like hours on end, are you sitting there like just pretending to do something, or are you actually doing it?
Well, one of the things we clamored for was like, get these computers working, please.
So you could do something.
So we can at least like surf the web and look at like fantasy football scores.
Taylor would not be looking at that. He'd be looking at something else. Fantasy.com.
Not football? Different kind of fantasy?
Yeah, different kind of fantasy.
Told you.
Whoa.
Yeah.
HR department.
So did they get the computers working?
They did, yeah.
And then everyone's just on the web looking at whatever they want.
Part of the problem was they got the computers working, and then there was a while when you could play poker online and you could spend actual money. It was and then they kind of shut that down. I think you can do it in certain states or something like that.
You can still, it's legal in some states, but not. But for a while there, it was floodgates were open.
The floodgates were open for a while, and I was on these poker sites with like actual money that I had put in, like being in the background, and then they'd be like, "We need a reaction from Dwight on this," and I'm like, "Just give me a minute," because I just went all in on this hand, and they're like, "Action!" I'm like, and I'd have to. That was not good. So I stopped that. That was very short-lived.
This episode is brought to you by Squarespace. Squarespace is the all-in-one website platform for entrepreneurs to stand out and succeed online. Whether you're just starting out or managing a growing brand, Squarespace makes it easy to create a beautiful website, engage with your audience, and sell anything from products to content to time, all in one place, all on your own terms. I love Squarespace as a platform so much because it gives you, the individual, the ability to control your destiny, owning your own content, owning your own platform, whether that's an e-com store, a blog, if you want to sell courses, subscriptions, if you want to build a newsletter. This is so important. One thing about Lauren and I personally is we control the platforms we distribute our content on. We have our own e-com sites, we have our own newsletters, we have our own RSS feed that produces this very show that you're listening or watching now, and we own the platform. So many creators and entrepreneurs are dependent on third-party social platforms. Here's the problem with that. These are tools that are great to grow, but they're also tools that you do not control. You're at the mercy of their changes, their algorithms, their bans, whatever it may be. With Squarespace, you don't have to do that. Squarespace makes it easy and cost-effective to stand up your platform right now. In the early days of the internet, you had to get all these different designers and coders and platforms and hosting, and it was a total mess, and it was so cost prohibitive. So now you can do it all cost effectively and in one place at Squarespace. So check them out. Go to squarespace.com for a free trial. And when you're ready to launch, squarespace.com/skinny to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Again, that is squarespace.com/skinny. Let's take a quick break to talk about one of our favorite supplement brands, one of our favorite brands in general, and that is Symbiotica. Taking Symbiotica supplements is one of the easiest ways I've found to stay consistent with my health goals, even during a busy summer. This weekend, we had to travel to Florida. I had to go to Tampa with Lauren, and then we had to go to Miami. We were seeing friends, we were doing dinners, we were having meetings, and we were running around. But here's the biggest problem right now traveling in this season. Everybody is sick. Everybody's coughing. Everybody's sniffling in the airport. Everyone's blowing their nose. It is obscene. It is absurd. And I'm not going to lie, I was nervous to travel because I hate getting sick. I'm the biggest baby. I would rather break my arm than get sick again, Carson. But I didn't have to worry this time because, of course, I had my trusty Symbiotica products. Some of the standout favorites that I always travel with, they have this elderberry syrup that comes in these individualized packets that is incredible. They also have this vitamin C packet that I think is the best vitamin C on the market. They also have a liposomal glutathione. This is going to be the master antioxidant for the body. And, of course, they have the essential vitamin D3 and K2 supplement. These are things that I take without fail every single time I'm traveling. They're things that I'm using constantly in the winter seasons when sicknesses are on the rise and when people have all these viruses. And I take them because I do not like to be sick, and I like to give my body the best fighting chance to fight off any viral disease or illness or sickness or whatever is going around, especially with kids in school. So check them out. You can't go wrong. They have such an incredible slate of products. Go to symbiotica.com/TSC today to get 20% off plus free shipping. That's symbiotika.com/TSC to get 20% off plus free shipping.
All right. Tell me if I'm alone here, but shopping used to feel more fun before all the algorithm-fed blah and the endless sea of dupes. But I have a confession. I've found that fun feeling again on eBay. I love eBay because on eBay, it's not just shopping. It's a fashion pursuit. And when you find the real thing, that adrenaline hit is real. So recently I decided for Christmas, I wanted to do a bear theme. So I went on and I found different vintage Ralph Lauren bears from the 80s and the 90s and the early 2000s. And I got some vintage plaid pillows and I did a whole setup downstairs by our gold tinsel Christmas tree. It is so cute. And each of these bears I found on eBay. You can find St. Laurent's, Stella McCarthy, The Row, Tom Ford, Valentino, Versace. They have everything. It's all about the thrill of finding pieces that feel like me, and I want you to find pieces that feel like you. There is always more to discover. eBay has millions of pre-loved finds from hundreds of brands backed by eBay Authenticity Guarantee. eBay. Things people love. All right, you can do all the skincare, the workouts, the supplements, but if you don't reprogram your beliefs, nothing changes. The Higher Self app is the ritual that makes all the others work. We had the founder on our show, and she basically was saying that you don't need years of therapy to shift your life. You can clear a money block, a weight block, or even relationship fear in just 20 minutes. They've seen women manifest $2,000 overnight, get engaged within 2 months of clearing a love block, and land dream jobs with massive pay raises. These transformations are insane. She was telling us all about them. So it's not a meditation. It's a subconscious reprogramming backed by science. So you're really changing the way you think. And the Higher Self app is so popular that it's been featured in Forbes, Fast Company, Business Insider, and it holds a 4.9 App Store rating. You should also know it's basically 53 cents a day, so it's affordable. And I think it's a good one if you're looking to add something to reprogram your subconscious. I am all about bettering myself. I like to be 1% better every single day, so this app is a real vibe for me. Go to thehigherself.app/skinny and get 4 months free or 30% off the yearly plan. That's literally, like I said, 53 cents a day to reprogram your subconscious and completely upgrade your life. That's thehigherself.app/skinny. Thehigherself.app/skinny. What was it like for you guys to win all these awards and get all this acknowledgement and accolades? Was it as amazing as it looks from an outside perspective?
Yeah, it's the first rush of going to those first award shows, first couple of like Emmys and Golden Globes and stuff was amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, it was amazing. And especially, think about it. I'm like, I never made over 17 grand in a year, 10 years doing theater in New York. And then cut to like 5 years later and I'm on an Emmy winning TV show and going to like the Golden Globes with like George Clooney. Like it's, you're just like, whoa, what the, and it was pretty crazy.
Yeah.
But it is astonishing, and people are going to roll their eyes at home, but it is astonishing at how then it starts to become work.
What do you mean?
Well, you do 2, 3, 4 years of the award shows and like, you got to get dressed up and it takes an hour and a half to get in. And then you're waiting in these long lines and then you can't get to your table and you keep losing the award. I lost 3 Emmys in a row.
But you have to be there.
You got to be there and be smiling. And like, even if you don't feel like it, and even that starts to become work.
If you lose, like, what do you practice your face if you lose in the mirror? You have to sit there with like a smile on your face like
it's
this?
It's the worst.
Have you seen that clip of, I don't know if it's real. I don't know if maybe it's real. That clip of Quentin Tarantino when he was up against Best Director. It was him and then Ben Affleck won, and it pans to Quentin Tarantino who spits out his water. He was like, and it just sprays everywhere. I don't know if it was.
He probably planned that.
If he was joking or not, but it was funny.
Do you have to keep like?
Oh, yeah.
Like, so you just sit
so you're
there?
like, and because everyone has a camera on them,
Yeah.
and they're like, and the Emmy goes to, and I'm like, and inside my heart is going like, dun, 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 and the Emmy goes to, they're tearing open the envelope, Jeremy Piven. I'm like, and then it's like, yeah, way to go, Jeremy. Right on, bro. Right on.
Do you guys really like have no knowledge of who's going to win until that moment?
Yeah, no one does.
Nobody knows.
When you're at the award ceremony, was there tons of actors that are really famous coming up to you guys being like, I love The Office? I mean, there had to be like,
yeah.
I can imagine.
That's also got to be crazy.
That was amazing. Yeah.
That's kind of iconic.
Yeah. Ben Affleck was one. He came up to us at the Golden Globes like, love your show, man. Oh my God, I've seen every episode.
How do you know what to do when the office ends? Did you have a plan? Did you want to take a break? Like, what was your energy when it went away?
I was just, again, like it's kind of a hard thing for some people to understand because they'll see me like on the street and they'll be like, Dwight. It's like, I'm not Dwight.
Right.
Like I played Dwight.
I get that.
For 9.5 years.
Yeah.
Of a long acting career, tons of roles before Dwight, tons of roles after Dwight. Like, be a little more respectful. Like, I'm the guy who played Dwight, but I'm not actually that. Dwight is a beet farmer in Pennsylvania, but for a lot of people, they don't quite get that, and I understand that, and I completely understand. So I just wanted to play other cool roles. That's it. I had enough money, so it wasn't really about like, I need to kind of like chase another show. But I did a bunch of shows that didn't work out. I did a show on Fox called Backstrom that was a detective show. It did 12 episodes, and then we didn't get high enough ratings, and that went away. I did another show on Amazon called Utopia that no one saw because it was a show about a pandemic that came out during a pandemic.
Yeah, dicey.
And that was no fun. And I did a bunch of independent films. I did some bigger films and studio films too. And yeah, I wanted to develop stuff. And at the same time, like I had this interest in spirituality. So I started a digital media company called SoulPancake. That was a YouTube channel for a long time. And now Soul Boom, I wrote this book, Soul Boom. We had the Soul Boom podcast. And so, and we did stuff with Oprah and we did stuff on mental health. And that's another interest of mine. So I really wanted to also make sure I'm spending some of my focus, not just playing wacky characters, but trying to make a difference in having kind of deeper conversations about what it means to be a human being. So there's a lot of my work in the last, 11 years since The Office has been in that space.
How did you initially become so interested in mental health and the things that surrounding all of the...
Can I swear on this podcast?
Yeah, of course.
Because I was really fucked up in my 20s and I went through a really hard time. And we talked earlier about The Artist's Way, and there's the author of The Artist's Way, Julia Cameron, has a quote that's attributed to her. And as soon as I saw it, I was like, that's so brilliant. She said, I come to spirituality not out of virtue, but out of necessity. Mm-hmm. And when I was really struggling with mental health stuff and, anxiety and depression and alienation, loneliness, addiction, especially like in my 20s and early 30s, I turned to spirituality as a salve, as a path forward, because I didn't know where else to turn. I didn't have any money. I couldn't afford therapy. There weren't like podcasts and apps and all of the resources that there are now back in the 90s and early 2000s. So, it was 12-step meetings and reading Buddhism and trying to meditate and pray and find a spiritual path that really helped me out of some really dark times. And I've always had an abiding interest in like, why are we here? What's the meaning of life? Like what, even when I was a kid, it's like, yeah, but why? Well, we're here just to enjoy it. And you have consciousness and there's life. And then you live 80 or 90 years. Like, well, why 80 or 90? Why not 800 or 900? Like where were we before? Where do we go after? Like these kind of larger questions always were a part of my life. And then when I found a spiritual path, it helped me a lot through some difficult times. And I wanted to share that.
So what is something that you have learned that you wish you knew in your 20s that maybe some of the younger listeners or even listeners that are struggling right now or viewers could benefit from?
Oh my gosh.
I guess there's a lot, but.
There's so much. I think, listen, some really basic stuff that anyone can start with, and people, probably your viewers are already on board with this, is meditation and gratitude. So, I fitfully tried meditation, but I didn't have an active meditation practice. Like I have to meditate every morning for me to have a balanced day. Maybe other people don't. I just have to. It's kind of like going to the gym. You never feel like doing it, but then you go and then, 45 minutes later, 14 minutes later, you feel great the rest of the day, right? It stays with you. You feel like in your body And meditation works the same way for me. And gratitude, like learning a gratitude practice. I have a text chain with a bunch of buddies every morning. Just turn your mind out of like what's not going right to what is going right. And it's a tiny little shift. And it doesn't feel like anything. But if you start practicing gratitude and sharing gratitude, you know, my wife and I do this thing. We used to do it back in the day, and now we do it. We're starting it up again, which is like at the end of the day, 3 things we are grateful for about the other person, especially being very specific, not like you're so kind or whatever, but like you were really nice when you'd said X, Y, Z. And then one thing that we wish we had done different over the last 24 hours. So you take a little bit of accountability for yourself.
Whoa, are you going to be able to do that? Because we're going to start tonight.
We do a thing called like Rose and Thorn with our kids.
Oh,
like same type of
wow.
thing.
Yeah.
And then somebody else said we gotta do Rose Thorn and then Rose Bud, like with the thing that what is that? The thing
it's thing that like there's something that bloomed in your day.
Yeah. Something that,
oh wow, that's
but
cool.
yeah, we try to do. I mean,
but I kind of like what Rainn's saying. I think that you and I could start saying 3 things that we're grateful for about each other. Is that what you said? And then one thing that we could have improved on.
And to try and keep it specific, like when you brought me that coffee when I was really stressed out, that was so nice of you to do, as opposed to like, you're so kind. You're not a big, like a specific thing. And then to say, I wish today that I had, and it doesn't have to be about the other, I wish that I could have just breathed more throughout the day because, I wish I wouldn't have looked at my phone so much. I wish that I would have given you a hug, in between podcasts, something like that.
But it sounds like also with your gratitude practice, you have invited a group of trusted friends into that. Is that not only for accountability, but I guess also to remind each other?
It increases intimacy too, because when you say like, I'm really grateful for hummingbirds, you're let into someone's heart. You're let into their experience of that they love hummingbirds, or they're grateful that their kid came back home from college and, they went surfing or whatever. You learn about people, and we have so many devices and obstacles getting in the way from us connecting and having deeper intimacy and vulnerability. Anything we can do to deepen that is crucial.
I also think that the practice that you're saying that you do with your wife, that it would be cool to do that in front of your kids too, because with my kids, when they hear me talking about my husband in a positive way, I think that's really healthy. Yeah. So I even think like we should try what he did in front of our kids. Well, I think they would like that.
It sounds like too, like even what you told us about your family, like it's important for children to see a loving household and parents. I mean, if they could see something positive, like that's the relationships they're going to later hopefully seek, right?
Yeah.
And so like sometimes, a lot of parents like go in the room to show that affection, or they go in the room to kind of show the argument, and the kid never really understands what the parents
to model it. Yeah. One thing I did with our son Walter is anytime I struggled, I shared it with him. So I don't want Walter to just see the positive.
It's a good one.
So I would go to him and say, hey, Walter, I just want you to know, like I spent a month trying to get this role on this movie, and I auditioned and I met with the director, and then I auditioned again, and I really wanted it. And I thought I was going to get it, and I didn't get it. And I'm really disappointed right now. And my heart is really sad. I'm really hurting. And it was really hard. And sometimes this business that I'm in really sucks. And to just let him witness that and understand that the parents they're dealing with stuff, and guess what? And then they move on, because we get disappointments and we get obstacles, we get failures even, and we move on. And that's what builds resilience. So the kids need to see that in the parents.
And modeling that in front of them is so important. That's a really, really good point to show what you're struggling with instead of trying to hide it all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
I, like you, love meditation. I would love to know what your specific practice is. Is there a certain amount that you like? Is there someone that you meditate to? Do you just sit with your thoughts? What's your practice?
I have the simplest meditation possible. I'll set an alarm for anywhere from like what I feel like for 9 to 16 minutes. And I won't say always, but 90% of the time I do it outside because I find it to be much more powerful outside than inside. And I'll sit in the yard and I just close my eyes and attempt to quiet my mind. That's it. I focus on my breath, let my spine be long, have an open heart, have my palms up on my lap. And, for me, it's this kind of shift that happens when I recognize that I am not my thoughts. My thoughts aren't me. I spend a lot of time with my thoughts kind of bouncing around like popcorn or like a pachinko ball, throughout the day. But that's not Rainn Wilson. That's just something that my mind does a lot throughout the day. So when I can detach from my mind and almost kind of like see it from an outside perspective and kind of witness myself thinking and then witnessing my mind quieting and witnessing myself being in peace, there's this kind of like perspective shift. In Hinduism, it talks about like meditation is like letting your thoughts be like a candle in a still room, and the idea that our consciousness can be a still candle despite all the chaos around us. So, I get a taste of that for 15 minutes in the morning. I won't say it stays with me all day, but it greatly helps my day. I'd love to do it twice a day. I know people that do it, morning and then like late afternoon or early evening. And that's also a lot of benefit to that.
I've been doing this trick to my husband where I pretend like I'm still sleeping, but I'm actually meditating.
Our mornings are chaotic.
He gets up and makes you a coffee then?
So he'll go deal with the kids.
We have a bunch of kids, right?
But I pretend like I'm sleeping, but I'm really just closing my eyes and meditating. It works really good.
Well, right
it's
now,
a mom hack.
The kids, it's like 5, 3, and 4 months right now. So our mornings are.
Oh my gosh.
With you, if you have a monkey mind that's chaotic, you're so right though. Being still with your own thoughts it's like a way to like just clear your mind. And check yourself almost. And it's so helpful throughout the whole day.
Or even just to recognize what you're thinking about constantly and kind of acknowledge that and kind of like be like, oh, that's recurring over and over. Like maybe there's more to that.
A lot of people say, well, I can't meditate because my mind is just so busy and crazy. It's like everyone's mind is busy and crazy. That's not the point. You witness your mind being busy and crazy, let it go. And, even if you just are allowed a few moments of stillness and quiet, that can be enough to kind of revitalize you. Yeah.
You wrote a workbook, Soul Boom Workbook. What is in the workbook that people can do to encourage spirituality, especially in such a digital world?
Oh, you mean this little thing right here?
That little thing
that I happen to bring with me?
Yep.
So I wrote a book called Soul Boom: Why We Need a Spiritual Revolution 2 years ago. Will you read it?
Yep. I love to read. I will read definitely both of them.
Do you guys ever listen to like audiobooks? Because it's on audio too.
Do you read the audiobook?
I did. Yeah.
Okay, then I can do it. I can't do it when it's the weird narrator. The
weird narrator.
The one
I
can't. I need it to be like the author.
It's got to be the author.
Yeah.
I want the book. Okay. I'll read the book.
But so there's that book. And then this is a companion workbook that's coming out now in November 2025, whenever you're listening to this. And we wanted this to be like the artist's way for spirituality. We wanted a workbook that can be your journal. There's journal entries. There's art. It's interactive. It's about anxiety and mental health. There's a chapter right there. There's beauty, nature, and art. It's finding your soul, finding values, virtues, and morality. It's an exploration of all of these spiritual themes, whether you're a born-again Christian, whether you're an atheist, whether you're something in between. We want it to be for everyone. Even if you already have your faith, it can deepen your faith. But for those who are on some kind of spiritual journey, we want the Soul Boom Workbook to be a catalyst for them to kind of explore issues of the soul and meaning and purpose on a larger scale.
This to me right now in this second of time is more important than ever, because the problem is whenever you feel bored or you don't want to sit with yourself, people are immediately picking up their phones and they're distracting. And
you had Jonathan Haidt on your show.
We did.
I was listening to his episode. That was a great conversation you had.
It's so important.
Yeah.
It's so important.
Yeah. We love talking to him. it's alarming in a lot of ways.
It's scary.
But also what I liked about talking to him is, and with you too, is there are tools and there is hope to kind of navigate through these and get back to kind of some of how we maybe were, I guess, designed to engage on this platform, right? Like, or in this world, right? Like, and I think there's a lot of escapism going on. And I think some of that escapism is causing stress and anxiety and anger and obviously our attention spans. And so I think this is really important right now.
Yeah, but Lauren, I interrupted you. You were talking about how in this day and age with all the devices that something like this, where you kind of slow down and go deeper, and it requires kind of a deeper level of attention.
If I didn't have spirituality in my life with everything I do, I don't think I would be able to perform at the level I perform at. I think it's so important. At the same time, it's like, I don't want to be preachy to anyone. I'm just saying what's worked for me is being able to sit with myself in the morning. I cannot wait to fill out your workbook. I'm a huge fan of The Artist's Way. I love the morning pages. If I don't have space to sit with myself and my own thoughts, I don't have a life. And I think that to me, why moving to Austin has been so good for me is it's almost been like it's eliminated a lot of distraction, and I've been able to sit with my thoughts. And so I'm like you, when I get asked, like, what's the secret? What's the hack? It's like meditating. And you could have your own version. I mean, Gabby Bernstein says she meditates for 5 minutes in the car. Some people meditate for 20, whatever it looks like. Just being able to sit still is such an important way, in my opinion, to spend your time. So,
and let's not forget about nature. Like, sometimes people just take a dog walk in the woods or on a path or in a park or something like that. And that's its own kind of meditation. And, you know, nature is everything. It recharges our batteries. It reminds us about God. It reminds us about what's important and where beauty lies, and, you know, this fragile ecosystem that we have to take care of and tend, you know, with a great deal of attention. So there's, you know, throughout the book too, we try and like always bring, you know, nature and getting back in touch with nature as a way, as a remedy for all the distraction you're talking about.
Can you give the audience a tool that's from your workbook that they could do tomorrow? Maybe your favorite? Something that they could do in the morning when they wake up.
Here's a great one. We have 2 ways to use your phones that have spiritual underpinnings. One is a sacred photo swap. So taking a photo of something that is sacred to you, because I love that word, sacred. Like, we think about sacred like, oh, as a church or a cathedral or a mosque or a synagogue or something like that, or maybe it's a battlefield or Gettysburg or something. But there can be a sacred tree, you know, or a place where you got married, or a brook that you stand by, you know, and remember a loved one or something like that. These places can be sacred. To take a photo of something that's sacred to you and send it to someone and ask them to send a photo of something that's sacred to them. So having a sacred photo swap.
I'm going to start sending you sacred photos, Lauren.
It better be of my face.
He's going to send you pictures of his butt. You know, and like, this here's sacred. I got your sacred right here.
Oh.
But we have another one similar to this of like beauty alert, you know, and it's the same thing, like something unexpected moments of beauty. You'll be in a parking garage and you'll see like the swirl of the architecture and be like, wow, that's like a stem or a leaf or a shoot of grass. Like, and you take a picture and then send it to your gratitude list or to your loved one of like a beauty alert that you saw. It could be, you know, a dandelion growing through a crack or something like that. So that we start to attune our minds to see what's sacred around us and to see what's beautiful around us and to be able to share that. That's a way to harness the phone for good. I
think that's genius, because the more little moments like that you can be grateful for that are simple, it builds a muscle.
Yeah, exactly.
And it adds up, just like you said, meditation adds up. Yeah. So you can only meditate.
And gratitude adds up.
It adds up.
And it sounds like, and it does, it gets you to look at the world in a more positive way.
We are wired to see things as threats and dangers and as potential sources of unhappiness. We're wired that way. That's what kept us alive for millennium, you know? Oh, a twig snapped. That could be a bear. It's going to eat my face. Or, I'm stuck in traffic. I'm going to be late. They're not going to like me. Did you spin out in your head? Like, we're wired for anxiety. And the modern world is making it harder and harder and harder to get out from that. And, you know, for all my talk, you know, I spent a good deal of my day like overwhelmed, freaked out. So, you know, these tools that can counteract that natural inclination to look for the worst or look for bad outcomes or to, you know, look for what's wrong or broken or where potential threats are. We have to hone those habits. You do them enough times, they become habitual.
It seems like you're really lit up and excited about this. Like you can feel the energy of you being so excited about it, which I think is cool.
Yeah.
I could tell.
Yeah.
I could tell.
Yeah.
It's almost, it's like what it seemed like Office, same thing. You had such a passion for your acting and everything, but it seems like this is like almost like a new era for you. That's like really exciting. And I think the world is in dire need of this.
Well, you're so kind.
And I don't
Thanks.
say that in a self-righteous way because I'm in dire need of it too.
Yeah.
I'm just saying like it is so important. We're so caught up in scrolling and worried about what other people are thinking and
but also
stress.
let's not forget how broken like our political system is right now.
Yes.
And
So I've seen some clips of you recently talking about it, and I wanted to bring this up with you.
And how disunified it is. So what is a unifier between the political left and political right? Like gratitude and what's sacred and what's beautiful and what we appreciate and connecting heart to heart with people. You know, the internet does not underline that. So we have to really lean into that, getting to know our neighbors, building community at the grassroots. You're absolutely right. This is stuff that's really turning me on. I'll love to play kooky characters for the rest of my life, and I hope I get to. But getting to have like conversations like we're having now is, you know, we do that on the Soul Boom podcast as well. Like I get so jazzed about it.
Let me give you a hot take. The perfect holiday gift is found on The Real Real. Seriously, I found the most beautiful gifts for both my sisters on The Real Real. They have every single luxury resale item you can possibly think of. The Real Real really has a thought of everything. Not only do I sell my clothes on there, I also find pieces. And like I said, the holidays, I go to The Real Real. If you're unfamiliar with The Real Real, it's the most trusted name in authenticated luxury resale. And it's my source for finding real gifts for special people in my life. I don't like when a gift doesn't lack depth. I want it to be thoughtful and purposeful. And this is a really great way to have a gift feel like you really thought about someone. Real gifts are exciting to give because you know they'll be truly loved. And sometimes the best gifts are the ones you give yourself. Seriously, I have found the best Hermes vest on The Real Real. I've also found a baby blue Prada coin purse, even a road trench. They have truly everything. So if you're looking to shop smart because you get up to 90% off retail, go to The Real Real. The Real Real is the world's largest and most trusted resource for authenticated luxury resale. With thousands of pre-loved luxury arrivals daily, no one does resale like The Real Real. And no one makes the holidays shine brighter than The Real Real. And now get $25 off your first purchase when you go to therealreal.com/skinny. That's therealreal.com/skinny to get $25 off. Start shopping now at therealreal.com/skinny. Did you know that you can save up to 70% off on the best brands this holiday season just by shopping at FromRebel.com? So they have toys. They have espresso machines. They have all the brands that you want. They have an espresso, KitchenAid, Le Creuset, all of them. And I know this because I've been shopping on their site. So how it works is every single day, Rebel drops thousands of new products on the site for up to 70% off. It's like a constant stream of amazing deals, like the ones I just mentioned. There's so many different brands, but you have to add it to your cart before it's gone because it might not be there tomorrow. So what I recently did is I went on and I got my sister some caraway pots. I got my girlfriend a KitchenAid. I shopped with Lalo. which is this baby site that has the best baby stuff, you can really get everything that you're looking for. So whether you're checking off your gift list, upgrading your home for holiday hosting, or just treating yourself, Rebel has it for way less, up to 70% off. This is some holiday cheer, which we love. Check off your list with some serious savings at FromRebel.com. That's FromRebel.com. This episode is brought to you by Neiman Marcus. When I think of holiday shopping at department stores for the most exceptional gifts, I think of Neiman Marcus. And I'm sure you do too. There's something truly special about the store, and there's something truly special for everyone. They have everything from Bottega Veneta's new It bag to gourmet goodies, to elegant timepieces, stunning jewelry, ultimate stocking stuffers, and the most gorgeous coffee table books. I also love their beauty section. I could get lost in there, from their perfumes to their lip liners to their skincare. They really have thought of everything. If you have a friend who's impossible to shop for, or a family member, Neiman Marcus has you covered because they have holiday gift guides. They also have a legendary fantasy gift, which is a one-of-a-kind item that surpasses every expectation. And if you need a little help, like sometimes we all do, Neiman Marcus style advisors make finding the perfect gift at every price point completely effortless. Everything at Neiman Marcus is just streamlined for you. I have been a fan of the department store since I was a little girl. I shop online a lot with Neiman Marcus. They have me covered. Everything is categorized and streamlined. They make everything so simple. I just like to do a big order. If you're looking for gifts that are guaranteed to surprise and delight, head to Neiman Marcus. Do you guys hear that? That's fresh, new, Skinny Confidential drop. Okay, this has been something that I have been working on for the last year. Introducing face towels. Your skincare routine has been reimagined once again. There is no more using butthole towels on your face. There is no more using the towel that your boyfriend has used on his balls. You are going to be using the cleanest face towel on your face with no formaldehyde, no inks, no fragrances, no dyes, no BPA. Okay? Our towels are so thoughtfully designed. They're vegan, they're cruelty-free because your skin deserves the best. I, a long time ago, wrote a blog post about how a lot of people are washing their face and then they're drying their face with the same towels that they're using on their body. Or they're using a towel that maybe has a bunch of, detergent in it. So I wanted to create something that was fresh to remove your makeup, to remove your oil without irritation. I wanted it to be buttery soft. I wanted it to be 100% sustainable bamboo, silky soft. You never have to worry about buildup with these towels. It's just like a breath of fresh air for your face. So how I use them is two ways. The first way is I will cleanse my skin with an oil cleanser and then I'll exfoliate it. And I'll do this in the shower or in my sink. And then if I get out of the shower or I'm done with my sink, I'll take my towel and I'll pat it across my face and my neck to dry my skin off. My skin feels so much cleaner doing it with a facial towel than using some random towel that who knows where it's been. So if you want to support a healthy skin barrier and you want something really sensitive, especially if you have acne or you have hyperpigmentation, this has a really gentle texture. It's absolutely beautiful. I'm such a fan. I've been using them for a long time. I know you guys have maybe seen them in my Instagram stories. Each box includes 50 disposable face towels. And like I said, they're made from 100% sustainable bamboo. This is the travel size. It's like a little box that you can throw in your makeup bag. And then we also have the one that can sit on your vanity. It's a box that you want out. It's so cute. It's baby pink. And I should tell you, the towels are shaped like a doily. So that's fun too. Go to shopskinnyconfidential.com to grab your face towels today.
You've done this publicly, but I'm also curious privately, when you have people in your life that come to you and they're highlighting the negative and how terrible things are and the reason things should be, like, how do you kind of walk them back to a place of gratitude and get them to kind of see the world in a more positive light? Like, what do you say to them specifically?
That's a great question. I don't have an answer for that. I don't know what to say to people. I think that we have to look for that precious point of unity that unites us, because everything in the world wants us disunited. You know, Jonathan Haidt talks about this all the time, but what gets us to click on our phones is outrage. So you have these media companies, and you have Facebook and Meta, Google, and TikTok, and all the news companies and entertainment companies. What is outrages us and is outrageous gets us to click. And the more we click, the more ads they sell. So they're in the business of outrage, and they're winning, So if you find yourself outraged a lot, and there are things to get outraged about,
sure.
Don't get me wrong. There are great injustices in the world that we need to deal with. But if you find yourself living in outrage, you have to think about they're winning, the phones are winning, the algorithms are winning, the news media is winning, the social media is winning, politics is winning, because partisan politics wants us feeling the same way, wants us outraged at the enemy, at the person who's wrong on the other side.
There was a congressman or a senator, I didn't catch the whole thing, from Tennessee, maybe people can look it up, and he was talking about how years ago, left or right, they'd fight like cats and dogs, but then someone's mother would pass away, and either left or right, they'd call and say, "I'm so sorry," and they'd cry together at the funeral. And they still came together, or they'd fight and cats and dogs disagree vehemently, but then they would come together later and be like, "Okay, we're going to the picnic this weekend." And he says, unfortunately, we've lost a lot of that, but now because of the attention some of this polarization gets and the business of that polarization, his worry is I don't know if it ever gets back to that, because the business, to your point, from a lot of these companies, and Scott Galloway talks about this all the time, of the polarization and the inflammatory content that's out there makes money, and it gets us to click more and more. So he was like, I don't know if we're ever going to get back to that
I think it'll
place.
get back there if people demand that it gets back there. And if they elect people that are good, common sense, decent people and loving people that want to build bridges and actually be public servants. So if we're electing people that don't fuel outrage, but are actually serving the interest of their constituents, they'll listen. Politics will listen, but it's the constituents that are going to drive that conversation.
I'm going to give you a weird example.
Okay.
And what alarms me about some of this. I'm going to use a Housewives franchise reference.
Here we go.
So these franchises over the years, the energy, the fights, the whatever, it gets amped up every year, right? And so new people come on the show, and if you're a new cast member, it's well, how do I stand out? I got to come in an absurd way and create a lot of rage and a lot of fights and drama, because that's what gets attention. I worry that that's happening now in politics, right? You're getting people that are representing us on both sides that know some of that polarization and absurdity is going to get them the most airtime, which is then going to get them the most attention, which is then going to get them, in their world, more power. And I think that many of these people have figured out how to do that. And unfortunately, I worry that it's the less rational people in that world than, maybe the more moderate middle, where we all kind of more identify. Mm-hmm. And so it's almost rewarded if you're acting in absurdity or anger or polarization. Same way in these reality shows.
You'll get more news items, you'll get more outrage, you'll get more clicks, even if you are on the extreme right or the extreme left.
Because if I came into one of these Housewives franchises hey, I just want to be friends with everyone, I don't want any drama, and I just want to kind of play, they'd be like, you're off the show, buddy. They want that, and I fear that is now playing out in our political system.
I think, though, it starts with self-accountability. Turning off the news and instead choosing to spend 20 minutes with your own thoughts, putting down the phone and instead consuming all this negative content. I think there has to be some kind of self-accountability that you have for yourself, which is why I think this workbook's so important, because you're in charge, in my opinion, of what you see. If I want to put my phone down and put it on airplane mode for 5 hours before I go to bed, I can do that.
Yeah.
I don't have to let it enter my space.
Right.
So I think there has to also be some type of self-audit.
Or our friend Gary Vee will say, listen, my algorithm is baseball cards and garage sales and wine and he's your algorithm is telling you something about yourself.
It's telling you who you are. Yep. It's a reflection.
Right? It's
That's true.
It's like
if you get on there and it's just people
it's like
screaming.
looking in a creek.
Yeah. Taylor, what if you open his? It's just
buttholes.
Well-shaped.
Twerking.
Healthily shaped.
Oh my God.
Gladly dressed women.
Taylor.
Pull your algorithm.
You're when I pulled up because I wanted to prove a point about Taylor's algorithm. It is literally all ass. That is all it is.
I plead the fifth here.
I recently rigged my phone
Uh-oh.
to be a dumb phone. So using the screen time on my iPhone, I gave someone else a screen time password. I don't even know my screen time password.
Okay.
I don't have an app store.
Okay.
I took off email off my phone.
Good for you.
So, because I was talking to this guy and he had a flip phone. I was like, I'm not ready to do a flip phone. But he's like, just because you get an email, that means you got to answer it?
Nope.
Like you're answerable to just all these people that want something from you? Like, and he's right. Like I'll sit down and look at my emails when I damn well please on my laptop later, and I'll spend 15 minutes or half an hour or whatever responding to emails, and then I'm done. I don't want you to be able to kind of get your hooks in me all day long. And I took off social media. I took off all games. I took off the YouTube app. I still look at my phone way too much just with texting. I took off news. I just left 1 or 2 news items so I could just get news updates.
Which are the 1 or 2 that you left? Like,
I don't want to say because then
You can't say anything because everyone's going to assume.
Well, I'm just wondering if
hold on. No, because if I say Fox News, people
it.
will be like, oh, that's who he is. And if I say CNN or MSNBC, we're like, oh, that's who he is. Like, so I literally can't say what news sites
so crazy.
are on my phone, but I try and get news from reliable sources and not biased sources.
It's Truth Social, isn't it? It's Truth Social.
I took off social media. So, you know, it's, I still can get podcasts, and I have, Google Maps, and people can text me, and
that's called protecting your peace.
I hope everyone does that except anyone that works here at Dear Media. Keep that email on lock.
No, I think that when someone comes into your text message or your inbox and expects a response, that is being reactive. If I don't want to respond to text, I'm at the point.
Lauren,
if I don't want to respond to a text, I'm not responding.
Lauren, you're absurd though. You've had the same autoresponder of email saying you're working on a project. It's been the same one for 6 years.
6 years. I have an autoresponder. So thank you so much for reaching out. I'm working on creative. I'm sorry. I don't want to live in my inbox.
And then she will respond to an email chain 3 months later, like, what do we got to do here? I'm like, we solved this 3 months ago.
Sometimes I'll text like 3 months later. Listen,
I think though,
I have to live in the moment.
More absurd actually than email is the text, because the email, there's like a little bit of an understanding that it'll take time to get to, but
text people want
it right away, and I find that actually harder to keep up with, because with email you can kind of categorize.
I wish there's an autoresponder for text. Thank you so much for reaching out.
Text is hard, especially now.
I'm busy living my life
with these spam accounts that get in. It's like it's unbelievable.
It's unbelievable.
Anyways,
You have a beautiful watch.
Oh,
but you're wearing it on the wrong wrist. It's driving me crazy. Why is that not on your left wrist?
You know why?
It drives me crazy.
Because I'm left-handed, and I know they make watches like Rolex will make one for the left hand, so you know you can wear. But it's when you're left-handed.
I got you. You don't have to say anymore.
And you can't write.
But if you were right-handed,
I'm sick of this left-handed excuse. Every single time we sit down at the restaurant, we have to sit in certain places. I'm over this narrative.
I read a statistic. I don't know if it's true that left-handed people die earlier because
Dad, stop fighting.
The world is designed for.
I'm grateful that you're
right-handers,
left-handed.
the doors, the way they also dinner. No, nobody wants to sit next to a left-hander at dinner because right and left we're banging elbows the whole time. So I go to the left.
I've never noticed once. I've never noticed.
That's because I always sit to the left.
Okay, all right.
So you never get banged on the elbow. But yeah, that's why. And I know, like,
she never gets banged.
It is annoying because these, like the pushers or whatever, are supposed to be on the other side. They're designed that way, but I have to.
That's tough. Yeah.
Yeah. But thank you.
Sacrifices we make. Anyway, sorry.
No, I love it.
That's silly.
Looking ahead, going ahead, what kind of legacy do you hope that all of the work that you're doing right now leaves behind?
Well, one of the things I talked about in Soul Boom is that we've thrown the spiritual baby out with the religious bathwater.
What does that mean?
So a lot of folks have jettisoned religion over the last 30 or 40 years, right? And our generation, I'm a little older than you, but my generation, your generation, and younger generations, stop going to church, stop going to organized religion. And in the doing, in getting rid of that, because there's, religions have done a lot of bad in the world.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of good reasons why people have left their church or their mosque or their synagogue. And but there are spiritual truths that we've also jettisoned. That's the spiritual baby we've thrown out with the religious bathwater.
Got it.
Like, getting back to compassion, building community, the importance of family, finding what's sacred, the stuff that we've been talking about. Like, understanding that we're here, we have a purpose. There is what they call, psychologists now call, this is the saddest thing you're ever going to hear. They call a hope deficit. Young people have a hope deficit. They don't believe that change is possible. They don't believe that there is hope in the future with climate change, with political division, with mental health epidemic. And so we can, spirituality teaches us that there's something larger than ourselves, that we have souls that are on an eternal journey, that we're here for a brief amount of time, and that we can be of service to others and bring joy to others. And these are tools that we can use that gives our life meaning and purpose. And then you have a generation that is unmoored from meaning and purpose. So these spiritual tools, in Soul Boom and in the Soul Boom workbook, I think they're just crucial for our personal development, but they're crucial also for the bonds that we create and the connections that we make, the community that we make. And it's not just an airy-fairy, it feels good, and kumbaya, and we should hug more. Like, they're very specific tools to make your life better and make your family better and your community better. And we need it now more than ever. This isn't about like convincing anyone to be a part of any church, although organized religion has a lot to offer. And I'm not saying don't be a part of any church. I'm a member of the Baha'i faith, and that's very important to me and has brought me a lot of purpose and meaning and focus. But these tools we've kind of jettisoned, and we need to get back to them.
It's funny because as you're saying this, I'm thinking what I want to instill in my children. And I think one of the number one things is a spiritual practice. I think that's really, really important. And especially when it comes to hope.
Do you pray with your family?
I don't pray, but I meditate every single day with my kids in the morning.
And why don't you pray?
I pray for my family. I pray.
I'm not religious. I wouldn't describe myself as
You don't have to be religious to pray.
I pray in my head, but I don't pray with my family. I'd be open to that.
Yeah, that might be, first of all, meditation is more powerful when you do it in a group and more effective. As weird as that sounds, we're all kind of like connected. And when you sit in a circle with a group of people that've done brain scans, meditation goes deeper, lasts longer, and is more effective in a group. So you can try meditation with. I know you have a 4-month-old. How's that
the
going to work?
4-month-old loves it.
By the way, but meditating with a 4-month-old when they're calm is one of the most calming things.
Oh my God,
ever.
it's so energetic.
Because they like I did it this morning with them.
It's amazing.
So Anne Lamott, the great theologian, thinker, writer, humorist, she has a book that I love called Help, Thanks, Wow. And it's the 3 kinds of prayers. Help, like God help me, something, creator, spirit, source, love, universe, beauty, science, art, whatever you want to call it. Help me, I'm struggling, please help. Thanks is like to the universe, thank you for this incredible conversation and getting to meet 2 incredibly well-coiffed new podcast friends. Thank you, universe. And wow, which is like, look at the stars. Wow. Look at the willow tree. Look at all these butterflies. You can share that with your kids.
Is that praying to you?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be Our Father, thou art in heaven,
that's
hallowed be thy name, which is a beautiful prayer, but it can be connecting on those 3 levels. And you can share that with your children. Hey, look at these beautiful butterflies. Where do you think they came from? The creative source that made all of this incredible beauty and love and nature and science and art and music. And thank you for that. Let's just open our hearts to that for a few minutes.
It wasn't on my bingo card for Rainn to encourage me and to inspire me to pray with the family. But
no, well, listen, I
love this. This is amazing.
Dwight Schrute got you to pray.
Yeah. No, and I was thinking
and
again,
got you laid.
Bringing it full circle. Yeah. Dwight Schrute got me laid and got me spiritual. But I mean, life is, meaning this, I'm very grateful to you, one, for coming on this show and doing this with us, entertaining us, making us laugh, early days of our relationship, but also for helping us think in a deeper and different way about a lot of these. Because I think what you're doing is really important. And I think more of it is needed. So thank you for doing this.
You guys are awesome. You're so good at this. You're so genuine.
Well, geez.
There's not like a fake bone in your body. Both of you are just like the most
genuine. It's not a shtick.
They are so genuine. Like
God,
what
you
you
guys are
see,
gonna
what you
make me
get.
cry.
And I love that. You
Well,
have
thank you.
good
Nice.
hearts.
Well, we like
Incredible hair.
Very nice.
You
Jeez,
guys, I wish you
guys.
could see their hair. It's just incredible.
we like
The collagen quotient in this
you
room
don't-
is
no-
off the charts.
No bullshit. We started
nice,
this
you guys.
show, and I tell the audience all the time, we've been doing it a long time, but we started it because we're and still are trying to figure out the answers to life, right? And we want to meet interesting people that can help us along. And so the benefit we have is we get to meet so many different kinds of people, the Jonathan Haidts, the world, all the people.
Yeah, the yak
But,
farmers.
The yak farmers.
farmers.
But it's, I think at the core of it is like, we get to maybe learn the lesson before it airs, right? But we're learning at the same, like the message here is just as relevant to us as it is to the audience we're trying to present for. So in a selfish way, we're doing it, but also the benefit of a few people listening here and there.
You guys are so sweet. Thank you. Thanks for the kind words.
Everyone go buy your book, Soul Boom, but also get the Soul Boom workbook.
Out now or out soon. I don't know when this is
No, we're going to make sure
releasing.
it's where you could say out now because we're going to make sure it adds right up.
Or at least for pre-order though. We'll get it all.
Out now.
By the way, I just want to tell you that if I had heard this podcast and heard you speak, and I'll say this on air, I would be running to buy this book. Like, I think this is amazing.
Wow.
I think
that's incredible.
I have an idea for you. I'm just going to throw it out there.
Okay.
Can the next one be for kids?
Oh, that's good.
I know.
Oh, I did it with a co-author, my good friend Shabnam Mugharabi, whom we do a bunch of work together. I'm going to call her as I'm walking out. We need a Soul
Our
Boom
kids do these workbooks now, and we get them,
Right.
and I think
because my daughter's journaling every morning. She's 5 years old. Like, what if I could give her something that would light her up spiritually at a young age?
Start it before we go through all of the, you know what I mean? Like, I got to clean up a lot of shit from my earlier years.
I would love one for
It would have been nice if I could have had a little more gratitude when I was like between that 5 and 25 range, right?
I would love one for kids.
Hey, get a kid exercising gratitude at age 5 and they're going to have a much richer life.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So please, if the next time you come on the show, or you can come on anytime, but the next time I would love to talk to you about kids specifically.
All right.
To be preventative instead of having to be reactive.
Thank you, Rainn. Where can everyone find you? What you're doing? Obviously, the book available everywhere.
Yeah, go to the Soul Boom podcast, the Soul Boom book, Soul Boom workbook, at Soul Boom, on all the social medias and Substack. So
don't email him; he won't respond. He won't.
Not email me.
Don't email me
please.
either. Don't email me. If you want to email me, you can email Michael.
I'm going to delete my email app.
Rainn, thank you for inspiring us, for coming on. You're amazing. Come back anytime.
Really? Anytime.
Anytime.
You guys are the best. I am your new biggest fan.
I am going to go watch that episode of the stairs one.
Yeah,
I'm going to do it.
It's called Money.
Money.
Yeah,
All right.
check it out.
Good name too for the episode.
Thanks, guys.